Welcome back to DG Media's weekly market update to let you know what's really happening in the market. So hopefully you tune in every Thursday at 2 p.m. at our DG Media Facebook site.
And today we have a juicy one.
Oh,
Foreclosures are about to explode, right, Don?
that's right. If you saw the headlines, that's what you're going to see. Because remember, negative media sells 10 times more than positive, and that's why they do it. But that's why we do our show weekly to let you know what's really happening with these reports.
Well, Don, one of our mentors, Barry Habib, has made a living of looking at media and breaking it down by saying, here's why this report is wrong. And that's what we're doing today. We're looking at this FHA delinquency report, 100% accurate. There are FHA loans that are delinquent more than 60 to 90 days, well above the natural average for FHA loans. But it's clear as to why. It's because they were given an empty checkbook that says, don't worry, you don't have to pay your mortgage. Why would you? Right, Don?
Well, why wouldn't you? If you got the option to go, I can pay my, let's just say $1,500 mortgage payment or defer it. Basically, they call it forbearance, but a lot of people go, I don't care if it's at the end of my mortgage. So the averages on FHA loans, which tend to have a higher delinquency rate in general, due to the fact that the idea is to help people get into homes that have lower credit, less ability to save, less ability to increase their income and so forth. But it does help them get into home ownership. It's a beautiful thing. But because they're always towing the line as much as possible, you're looking at a normal around 9 to 10% delinquency rate on a regular basis, not foreclosure rate, but delinquency rate. That has jumped up to 17.5% nationally. And let me clarify that. That's delinquency rate. Now, over 90 days and above is down to actually 12.5%. But they're going to make it, you feel that this is the start of a housing bubble, that we're going to have foreclosures everywhere.
Well, I'll tell you why that's not going to happen. Number one is most of those people, or a nice big chunk of those people, when this foreclosure moratorium ends, they will be able to just start making their payment the next month. And I'm going to just go out on a limb and I'm going to say half of those people are going to start making their payment again.
Well, what about the other half, Gino?
Well, the other half are going to have to do this thing that people used to do with their homes when they couldn't afford the payment, which is called sell. So if you've noticed, we've been talking about an inventory crisis. Why do we have an inventory crisis? Well, in the past, people had to sell their homes for a multitude of reasons. Divorce, they lost their job, they got paid less, all these hardships that people encountered.
Move up buyers want a bigger home.
Well, there's those, some of move ups can still move up, but those that were encouraged that had hardships and we used to sell because of hardships are typically, I'm going to say 2% of the market, 2 to 3% of the market is naturally due to hardships. Those that are experiencing hardships didn't have to sell their homes during this period of time due to the foreclosure moratorium. So those homes that would have normally entered into the market in 2020 that didn't have been building up a pent up supply of homes that are going to come to the market. Now you say, oh yeah, well that's where it's going to tank the market prices. It's not enough to make an impact. There's so much demand out there for homes, right, Don?
Well, and your point is what's nice too, for those who were able to stay in their homes due to the forbearance and foreclosure moratorium, is that they've also been gaining equity. Equity has increased at some of the highest levels we have seen since basically 2003 to 2007. We're talking over 10% nationally. So during this time, they're actually increasing their equity, which will do two things. One, if you own the home, you don't want to get rid of it because you have all this equity now built up in it. So you're going to do your best to make the payment. Or two, you have more equity to potentially sell and not need to go to foreclosure, therefore opening up some potential inventory, right, Gino?
Yeah, and they're also talking about, Don, extending this foreclosure moratorium a little bit longer as well, which gives people that were in those most industries, now that everything's reopening again, restaurants, movie theaters, cruise lines, all those things that were service industries, hotels, all those things that were severely impacted. I don't know if you tried to get a hotel this weekend, it'd be nearly impossible.
I just looked on flights to Vegas. They're ridiculous. They're like booked, all booked up, So everybody's getting there. I just came back from Mexico, absolutely packed. I mean, it was like you go to the pool and you're like, oh, there goes the COVID.
Yeah. So our point is, The economy is slowly building itself. The moratoriums will end. The delinquencies are there, but they're there for a reason, and they're nothing to be scared of. So
That is
don't.
what we wanted to hit, Gino. Big point is fear can actually kind of bleed upon itself where you're like, oh, I better sell now because the foreclosures are coming. The market's tanking. I'm going to sell now. I'm going to take the equity I have. We're just letting you know, don't fall to the prey of the media. They're going to try to scare you. They've been trying to scare you literally for 5 years that eventually this bubble is going to burst. You've lost out on tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity if you listen to the naysayers. Listen to us, listen to the professionals, and we'll guide you in the right direction.
That's right. So hang out with us next week. Hopefully you found this informative. We do this for you. We make sure that you get the right information from people that are boots on the ground and know what's happening in housing. And we're still investing in housing. We're still bullish on housing. So
that's right. Okay, one more thing. You're going to see a slide here. Momentum Builder crushed it. 20 amazing speakers. We're going to show you some of the basically the highlights of the comments that came across from this week-long event. Good news is we recorded all of these great presentations, and you can still get them. You can go on to momentumbuilder.com for $199. You get all of the presentations. You'll see the comments where every one of these was worth that.
It was awesome.
It's game changing. We're very proud of the event. We thank everybody that helped us put on the event. Thank you that did join us during the event. Again, momentumbuilder.com. Now it's ours. And we'll see you next week.